Sam here, talking Oscar nominations coming tomorrow morning. First of all, thanks for watching the Sight and Sound video. If any of you guys watched that, I'm just posting this for posterity, for fun, because A, yeah, that. B, love Oscars. Been obsessed with the Oscars since 97, 97, 98, around then, and predicting them. And Nostragamji is my YouTube handle. I don't know if I'm going to stick with that or even do any more videos ever again. Who knows? But I love predicting. I love predicting the noms. And the nominations tomorrow always there are going to be some huge surprises. There always are. Been loving following the other content creators, watching their predictions and seeing what everyone's saying. Talking about the movie year, I think the Oscars are, in one hand, silly awards. On the other hand, they're important for the art form and the movie industry. So I'm pretty into it. Um, they're going to be huge surprises. And I'm not doing what a lot of people are doing with my predictions, where I'm doing like number one, number two, number three, like in order of likelihood, where I just want to get as many right as possible. I'm not really doing that. I'm more trying to guess and forecast what some of the big surprises might be, because we know they're going to happen. They always happen, man. They always happen, and we always think they're not going to, and we have a grip on it, and there's always something. And the Academy, membership growing and growing. I think we're gonna have even more and more of that as we go. So yeah, I might do a reaction video tomorrow of the nominations, but we'll see. So I'm just going through the big top of the line or over the line, above the line, whatever you want to call it, categories. The big eight or so. I don't know. Film director, actor, actress, supporting, screenplay, and then I might talk a little bit about foreign and some others, just that are interesting. So there's going to be 10 nominations for Best Picture guaranteed. It's not a rolling 5 to 10 like it has been some of the years past, but now it's a locked 10. So there's about, some people are saying there's 6 or 7 that are locks. I agree. The last couple slots are going to be really interesting. The last couple slots are kind of a toss up between like 6 or 7 movies. And I think I'm going to be going on a limb with what I'm going to be calling here. And let's scroll down. So the 10 nominees after Sun. Here, let me do it this way. That's right. And I will explain. I will explain. Okay. But yes, alphabetical order, because I like imagining how they will unfold in the actual nominations, and they do things alphabetically, and so that helps me get a sense of it usually. So yeah, here we go. After Sun, All Quiet on the Western Front, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere, The Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, The Whale, and yes, Women Talking. With the alternate being Avatar and a No Guts, No Glory going to RRR. Now, here are the other contenders, and let's talk about it. All right, so let's just go right to the alt and say Avatar. I'm not an Avatar fan, so I'm trying to put my bias aside here, but I'm just not a fan. I don't. I kind of. It gives me kind of this evil satisfaction knowing that, for the week or two after Avatar came out, I didn't like it. First of all, I think the motion capture high frame rate is just crap. I could care less on this at this point. I don't even know why I went to see it. Um, I guess I felt it was part of this cultural event I had to take place in. But you don't have to take place in the cultural event. It's literally, it's not for everyone, and it's okay to say that and not worship James Cameron. After a couple of weeks of the kind of roller coaster ride effect wore off on people, I think that they were saying Cameron's locked for director nomination and best picture. I don't think so anymore, and I'm going to predict it slips out here. It's gotten plenty of other precursors. I know it could most likely be in here, but so the locks we're talking. Oops, sorry about that. We're talking. Banshees is a lock. Elvis is a lock. Everything Everywhere is of course a lock. Probably the front runner still, which again I take pleasure in because I've been one of the people since March saying it'll definitely get nominated. Fablemans lock. Tar lock. Top Gun lock. So then you have the ones I'm putting in that are maybes are obviously After Sun, All Quiet, The Whale, and Women Talking. Um, let's just go in order. After Sun, it's my favorite film of the year. Um, Maybe I'll post my top 10 on the video. I don't know. My dad passed away last week. My dad passed away Monday night, and I'm still feeling it. This is not an escape. This is a little diversion. It's fun to do something different here for about 30 minutes. But I grew up making home movies with my dad, and this was my number one even before. Thinking about it in the context of like memories of your father and the home movies you have. So it's an extra layer for me, but it was my number one of the year. Now I'm not just putting it in because it was my number one of the year. I'm putting it in even though most people have it around number like 13, 14, 15 likelihood. I'm putting it in because I am going to say it's going to be this year's, Drive My Car nomination. I think a lot of us were hoping earlier on in the season that Aftersun would go all the way to a nomination. And it didn't quite get all the things it needed to get for that to happen. There's some critics awards for it, critics nominations for Paul Mescal and Charlotte Wells. I just think it's such a passion pick, and when you think about how the nominations process works, where you have to, where the number one votes from voters get heavily put in points wise, you're looking at passion. You're looking at what are the movies people have at number one, not the number 2, 3, 4, but the very top. And if you've seen Aftersun, like 4 out of 5 people who see Aftersun, it's basically their favorite film of the year. It's that good, and so I think it's going to make it in. I think it's going to be one of the big surprises. I'm going to go ahead and say it, and I'm going to think Avatar gets out. It's just the kind of enthusiasm has worn off. All Quiet is probably the most likely of these other maybes. I think some people are considering it a lock at this point. It did really well at BAFTA, for what that's worth. Had tons of nominations there. Made a lot of short lists for the Academy, so it's actually the one I have not seen yet. I've not caught up with this one. It was on my watch list at the end of the season, and then New Year's happened, and like my dad passing, I got to catch up with it. I'm sure I'm gonna probably love it. It looks beautiful. So I don't have the personal feeling about how I can weigh in on it having seen it, but I think it's probably gonna make it in. Now these are all, like I said, locks here. Banshees, total Oscar movie. I mean, it's just so universally liked. Elvis is a comeback for Baz a little bit. It's done really well. I knew it would get Best Picture ever since. It just kind of had that staying power. Everything Everywhere. Very proud to be in that camp since March or April. Fabelmans has dipped a little bit. It's not the front runner it was that we thought it would be, but it's still like top 4, top 5. Tar doing really well for being as artsy as it is. It still seems to be a lock. Top Gun, obviously, big success story, making it all the way in. Now, these two right here, these are also the maybes. And you can see down below here the other contenders, and I'll talk about that in a second. But Whale. Whale had an interesting journey when, it premiered at Venice or whatever, standing O for Brendan, and everyone thought, okay, the Whale, everyone's crying at the end. It's going to be huge Oscar movie. He's going to win the Oscar, etc. This was a big hype at first, and then it came out, and the views were very mixed, very divisive. I was actually on the negative side. I did not care for the Whale, how it was executed. Myself, I love almost everything, but this was just it was too ham-fisted for me. All due respect, Brendan Fraser is beloved. He's awesome. I'm glad he's getting the accolades, but it didn't work for me. But now it's swinging back around for it, and I think people are starting to realize this is an Academy movie. This is not only, I think, this is not debate. This is not on the edge for me. The Whale is, I would say, a lock for a nomination. Not only do I think it's a lock for the nomination, I'm going to say what I haven't heard anyone else say, and it's a fear, and the fear is that is The Whale Coda? And I people have made the connection, but what I mean is, could it over the next month become the Best Picture winner? I'm very scared of that happening. I know that sounds a little out of nowhere or a little crazy, but we're getting a little bit too comfortable with this Everything Everywhere being now the front runner thing. It's when something sits at the front running position for a certain amount of time. Time passes and you start to wonder, and people start to have other little impulses. Brendan's on the rise right now. I think he will win Best Actor probably over Austin Butler, who's had a crazy surge too, and then Colin Farrell's got a lot of passion. We'll get to Best Actor in a second, but I think The Whale's in. And then Women Talking, talk about one that people are not putting in. This was also considered, ahead of the release of this movie. This was definitely, a year ago we were all saying this is going to be a front runner. Loved the film myself. And it just tanked. I don't know what's going on with this. I think the lack of box office success, whatever that even means anymore now with a movie of this size, like, I think coming out right around Thanksgiving, the holidays, and such a tough subject matter. See, I want tough subject matters. A lot of people do too. And I'm telling you guys, this is an important subject. I don't think Academy members are going to ignore it. I know most people are predicting it's not gonna make it in. I am gonna say it gets in, and what I'm trying to anticipate are these stories that go around after the nominations on Twitter and on the websites and where everyone's saying, "Oh my God, the biggest surprise of the day was Women Talking was saved and it got the nominations." I'm not going to predict it everywhere, but I have a couple other thoughts. But I think it will do better than we thought. I think After Sun's going to be the big surprise nomination. And Avatar getting snubbed, I could see would be a story. Anyway, but it's all so close. And here are the other things. All these other 7 here, they're all really strong chances. Like, I could see any of these getting in. Avatar, obviously, could just get in. RRR, it feels less likely now than it did a month or so ago, or a few weeks ago. If they keep pushing those Academy screenings, though, I could see this happening. Babylon, obviously, very divisive, kind of tanked. Still could make it in. It's an industry movie. I see Academy members loving the effort from Chazelle. But remember, First Man got left out too. Triangle of Sadness, a lot of people have this in the 10. I can totally see it. Absolutely see it. I have this in other categories I'm going to be talking about. She Said, I could see it getting in. I still could see it getting in, even though it didn't do well, just like Women Talking. I could see it happening. Woman King. And these are all female directors, by the way. She Said, Woman King, Women Talking, and After Sun. These are our 4 shots for females getting into Best Picture or Director. And you'll see my thoughts here on the director in a second. Glass Onion, I think it's least likely of all of them. I think when you're going up against these here, Avatar, RRR, Babylon, Triangle, She Said, Woman King, Glass Onion is lower than those. So that's Best Picture. Let's go on just to the others. Best Director, I got a big surprise in here. My biggest surprise prediction here is that Sarah Polley actually makes it in the end. I know no one else is predicting that. No one. I am. I just think if you're an Academy voter who supports female directors, and I would count most female Academy voters, I would count anyone else who stands for this cause, they're not going to want to see those 5 male nominees. And she was one of the front runners when this movie was first getting buzzed about. Like, right when this started screening at Telluride or whatever, everyone loved Women Talking and said it's definitely a top 5 Best Picture, and Polley is in for director. And it just faded out, and I'm thinking it comes back tomorrow morning. Daniels is, I think, safe. Todd Field is pretty safe, although I could see him maybe getting accidentally snubbed. Martin McDonagh got snubbed for 3 Billboards, which I hated 3 Billboards. I liked Banshees a lot more. I think a lot of people are going to be in my boat where they're going to give it to him this time. Spielberg is locked. I very unlikely to see him getting snubbed. One second here. I'm going to tab over to this. Let me see. I was watching Oscar Expert, and I want to see some other contenders here. Love Oscar Expert. Those guys are crushing it. So I have Polley in, but this 5th slot is what everyone's talking about. It could be many people, just like that Best Picture last two or 3. We got Edward Berger for All Quiet. It got in a BAFTA. I could totally see it overperforming here and getting in. But most people are predicting Daniels, Field, McDonagh, Spielberg, and Berger as the 5th. I'm putting Polley in instead. No Guts, No Glory, just kind of off the wall pick, is Rajamouli. I absolutely could see Rajamouli getting in. I still can see it happening. Now, other contenders, Baz Luhrmann, Elvis. I think they're gonna love Elvis, but I don't think Luhrmann will make it in. Cameron, I'm happy to say I do not think he should get one of these 5 slots. No offense. Ruben Ostlund, absolutely. I was toying with either Polly for that 5th slot or Ruben Ostlund, or Berger. So I could see Ruben Ostlund getting it, absolutely. They pick these foreign directors as one of the 5th slot. This has happened more and more. And then Joseph Kosinski got DGA nom for Top Gun, and that's kind of like the boring, kind of safe choice, especially because people don't give him the authorial credit for the movie as much, just given Tom Cruise's star power and then Christopher McQuarrie. But anyway, Park Chan Wook also could happen. Charlotte Wells could happen in a crazy dream world. So those are the things I think could possibly happen. But this is what I'm going with for now. Actor, Austin Butler locked, of course. Colin Farrell locked. Brendan Fraser locked. Bill Nighy is pretty much locked. So the 4 there. Now you guys are probably going to wonder what's my big crazy prediction here. It's that it will not be Paul Mescal and Aftersun, but it will be something completely random that shocks everyone. I'm telling you, I watched last year's nominations and everyone's reactions. There are so many surprises that are going to happen. I'm predicting the surprise here is going back to Jeremy Pope for The Inspection, which I haven't even seen. I haven't even seen it. I'm just still guessing it. I don't think Tom Cruise is going to get it. You also have Tom Hanks and Bianca Otto. Hugh Jackman in The Sun. That one's really tanked. Although it could I could see that maybe as the next idea after Pope. The others, I mean, Gabriel LaBelle, Adam Sandler. He got SAG, right? I could see maybe Adam Sandler. That's the No Guts, No Glory here. I wrote down. I would love to see Mescal get it. I just think it's too artsy of a performance. It's not a lot of. It's so subtle, you know. I would love to see it. Like I said, #1 movie of the year, but I'm gonna just pick a random surprise there and do Jeremy Pope. Actress, similar. We're all wondering what that 5th slot is going to be, and this is a crazy jigsaw puzzle because Cate Blanchett is locked, right? Okay, done. Michelle Yeoh is locked. After that, it's up. It's between all of these others. Ana de Armas, Blonde. I loved Blonde. I know that I'm going to get, if anyone was watching this video, then I would start getting hate comments because you basically are not allowed to like Blonde. And I know I'm a white male as well, so I got it double working against me. I'm just calling it like I see it, and while Dominic has said some disappointing things, Blonde creates a cinematic experience that is, I would say, Lynchian. It's David Lynchian. It gave me it put me into a trance of this nightmarish state of the character's experience and exploring the myth of Marilyn Monroe. Okay, a lot of Marilyn Monroe fans are protective of her legacy, and I kind of get that, but I compare it to something like Gus Van Sant's Last Days, where Gus Van Sant explored the myth of kind of Kurt Cobain's persona. And it's not like supposed to be accurate. Ana de Armas, though, say what you will about the movie or its politics or whatever, but she put it all out there, and I'm glad she's been getting tons of things. It seems like she's on her way to the nomination. I love it. So for the others, you have Viola Davis, Deadweiler. I'm predicting getting snubbed, and Michelle Williams actually makes it in. So Michelle Williams had this whole thing with. We all thought she'd be supporting, and now they're marketing her, or she chose to campaign lead herself and the studio. It could bite her. It's just too competitive in Best Actress. You know, she could have gone to supporting actress and just won the thing, but she decided to do this, which means that Blanchett, Armas, Davis, Yeoh, Williams, and Deadweiler, 6 of them are all competing for the 5 slots. Now, some people have her getting pushed out, and then Deadweiler and Viola are both in. I just see Michelle getting it for Fabelmans still. I think that Fabelmans kind of dipped down, but I think we're going back to the kind of Academy, like old school Oscar kind of love for a movie like this, that what Spielberg did, and a lot of love for Michelle Williams. She's, won before, if I'm not mistaken. My stats are rusty. But everyone loves Michelle. I love Michelle Williams. Even the people who didn't like Fabelmans and hated her performance, I'm the one always there going to bat because I didn't even love her performance that much, but I'm still going to go to bat for her because I love her so much. And I have she's got a lot of goodwill. Ever since Heath died, I've just been rooting for her. And Um, yeah, I see you're getting it. The problem is the Viola Davis and Deadweiler thing. Deadweiler, if you've seen it, you know it's one of the best. It is the best performance of the year, probably. So if it gets snubbed, it will be the story of the day. But I just see it likely. Viola Davis, honestly, this is an unpopular opinion, but I'm not crazy about Viola Davis. I think she overdoes it a lot. That's just me. That's just my taste. I know she is hailed and put on a pedestal, but I don't know. This whole Viola Deadweiler Williams thing, I'm not sure. This is what I'm going with today. No Guts, No Glory is Olivia Colman because you never know. You never know, and she has a crazy like amount of love for her. I mean, she is the next Meryl Streep. We say that about Kate Blanchett a lot. People say she's the next Meryl. I'd say Olivia Colman has that where any film she's in, or like a Judi Dench, like you just watch out because she could get nominated. I know that Empire didn't do well; it was a big Oscar kind of tank, but it could happen. Then you got just have to mention Margot Robbie for Babylon, because of Babylon's kind of excuse me mixed reception. I think she's missing the cut. It's also I wanted to see more from that character in that performance. Andrea Riseborough, you have to talk about for To Leslie. It's almost a meme at this point because she was. I don't like using that word meme, but it is crazy that there was so much buzz going around her during nomination week to get like a surprise nomination, and all these people were tweeting about it. You got to mention it, and those are the only real other next contenders I would say. Supporting actor, this one's very locked up into five that everyone's predicting, which is Dano for Fablemans, Gleason and Barry Keoghan for Banshees. Awesome to have both of them in. I'm so glad Barry has become like a lot. Ke Huy Quan, the presumed winner, which is he's been sweeping everything, which is awesome. And then Eddie Redmayne for Good Nurse. That one's the only one that just seems a little like rote that everyone's just saying because he's been getting everything and he's kind of in. Brad Pitt is the one that could sneak in and kind of go toe to toe for that slot, maybe. I think Dano could also possibly lose. I don't love Dano either, personally. I really don't like his performances. I think he's a great guy. I'm all about him and Zoe Kazan. Like, I love them as people, as whatever, but I don't think that Dano's Fableman's performance should get in the five. It's just not one of the best five to me. Woody Harrelson, I just put as a no Gus, no Glory. I had no one else to pick there. I don't think that's super likely. But are there others? I mean, Judd Hirsch for the Fablemans, I don't think it's going to happen. There were the two Fablemans guys and the two Banshees boys. Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway is like a fan kind of cult hope for that one. That would be cool, but Ben Whishaw for Women Talking used to be in the conversation. He's not been in there lately. So this is what I'm going with today. Supporting actress, we have Bassett, who's been kind of emerging as maybe the front runner. Hong Chow for The Whale. I think The Whale love is going to put her in. Carrie Condon has been locked for a while. Jamie Lee. And then the big question is about Stephanie Sue for Everything Everywhere. I say she doesn't make it, and I'm putting in Dolly De Leon. So this is, again, very competitive. I remember a couple of months ago, I had this like vision that Dolly De Leon would get the nomination. Now so many people have also had that vision, and just everyone has her in. It's not very different to be predicting her. But so now it seems a little too easy to have her in. My alt is Jessie Buckley for Women Talking. I almost put her in. She used to be, again, one of the presumed nominees. Her and Claire Foy both. We were talking about all these different actresses. I still think, again, remember she's surprised with the nomination for Lost Daughter. I think there's a chance she could get in there and kick out, I guess, Dolly De Leon, or maybe Hong Chow. I just think still Hong Chow gets it. Guys, I don't think there's any room in here for Stephanie Sue. I'm sorry. I love her as well, but I just don't think there's room. And I'm kind of okay with it. As weird as it is that Jamie Lee has like suddenly taken all of the nominations from Stephanie Sue, where maybe some might say, well, representationally, we should have Stephanie Sue in there and not Jamie Lee Curtis. I totally get that, but Curtis has had this career. of work, and it's more like, oh, wasn't it a delight to see Jamie Lee Curtis in this movie, in this role, and she crushed it with what she did. It's I don't know. Some people don't see it as an Oscar-worthy performance, but this is really interesting. This is gonna be interesting to see what they do. That's my five. Real quickly, adapted screenplay and original. For adapted, we have All Quiet, Glass Onion, because it's a sequel. She Said, The Whale, and Women Talking. The alt is Living, and these six are very close. A lot of people have Living instead of She Said. I'm going with She Said. Again, I think that you have this huge academy, right? And there are a lot of females and there are a lot of people who are wanting to have these stories of women represented in the Oscars, and people of color and all of these voices. We're not just going to have an Oscars so white year this year. I don't think. I think there's going to be some kind of noise here. I think She Said will get in. Living could be it though. My No Guts, No Glory is The Quiet Girl, because I think that is an Oscar movie and a half. Total Oscar bait, and I think it'll be nominated in foreign. Original screenplay, it's kind of five to everyone. Well, no, it's not actually. Triangle. Everyone has Triangle in, and I'm putting After Sun in. So I'm once again I'm predicting might be some hope involved, but I'm predicting After Sun does better than we think. It gets original screenplay and picture, and it might get Paul Mescal. Yeah, I know it's odd that I didn't put Mescal in there. A lot of my predictions, probably when you look at them all together, they maybe don't make sense with one another, but I'm still trying to call some surprises here. So I say After Sun gets in over Triangle of Sadness, because when you think about it, you have After Sun and Triangle of Sadness. One of these is just one of the most acclaimed movies of the year. After Sun, Triangle of Sadness, it's got its passion. It's got its fans. You know, there's a lot of passion behind its fans for this movie. It's hard to see After Sun and Triangle. I feel like After Sun has so much passion behind it. The people who've seen it love it so much that I would put it in, and it's a female, so that's what I got there. I would like to talk about score real quick and cinematography. I'd like to see Batman get a little love in cinematography. I think that's something people have been hoping. Score, I'll talk about just because I love scores. I almost would do a whole YouTube channel just about scores. The ones people are thinking are Babylon, Desplat for Pinocchio, Women Talking, which is Hilder's score. Please don't nominate Tar. She didn't do a score that's used in the movie. It's all part of the background that the actors were listening to. Just please don't nominate Tar. Banshees, which is Burwell, and Fablemans, which is John Williams. It's not a lot of music he made for it, but it's still John Williams. I've been saying this whole time that John Williams will still get in no matter how little music it is. He's down to his last couple film scores, and we always have that fear. I think he's gonna sail right in. I would love to see Everything Everywhere for Son Lux get in. That's one of my favorite scores of the year. Other favorite scores of mine this year, She Said, Nicholas Bertel was really good. If She Said did better, if She Said overperforms at the Oscars, like let's say Carey Mulligan gets in for supporting actress, which I didn't even mention, and she's gotten tons of precursor nominations. Could totally happen. In supporting picture, could even be She Said. It gets the screenplay nomination, and it could get score for Bertel. Hard to predict. But yeah, I mean, other favorite scores of the year, Blonde. EO was amazing. Speaking of EO, let's talk about international feature. Real quickly on animated feature, I'm going with Wendell and Wild for that fifth slot. Puss in Boots, Marcel, Turning Red, and Pinocchio, I think, are all locks. I'm going Wendell and Wild for that fifth slot. I know people didn't like it. I happen to love Wendell and Wild. I'm in the minority. But I think Henry Selick and the love for the stop motion craft is going to go through there. And Jordan Peele, don't forget. And Netflix. International is highly competitive this year. It's crazy. I'm really curious to see. This will be my last thoughts here on the video. We have All Quiet, of course. You have Decision. I'm just going to type this out here. International. I'm just going to type this out. We have All Quiet locked in, right? Decision to Leave is probably locked. Now this is the one. Argentina. This movie, man. This movie that no one saw or put on their lists, and it's winning. It's getting nominated for every precursor group. it's absolutely insane what's happening with this movie. So is it just going to sail right through? If so, then it's just an easy 5. Well, an easy 4 at least, because Close I think will get definitely nominated. For the 5th slot, it's between Bardo, which just totally tanked. It did not deliver at all. Everyone thought it would be a big Oscar movie. Did not at all. Corsage, maybe. EO, though, is the one. Again, I loved EO, so this is a little bit of hope, perhaps. But I'm telling you guys, Janus Films distributed EO. They won for Great Beauty. They won for Drive My Car. The exposure for EO has been good. I see a lot of ads for it. Everyone who sees it loves it, even though it's not. It's more experimental. It's artsy. It's short though. This movie is cinema to me. It was so thrilling to watch, and so like my friend and I watched it, and afterwards we were just like, best film of the year. I mean, I've since walked that back a little bit. It is just, it's hard to not love EO. It doesn't have the heartstrings kind of stuff that like Close does, or I guess probably Argentina 85 has. I haven't seen it yet. But these are my 5. I'm going to say Bardo gets left out. EO is in. But again, always surprises, and can't wait to see what's in store tomorrow. Maybe I'll react. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. Yeah, this is a nice little reprieve during a difficult week, and I look forward to the nominations tomorrow. Cheers. Post your comments with your predictions as well, and any of your no guts, no glory thoughts, or if you think I'm crazy for putting After Sun into a couple of these categories. All right. Until then, take care.